Every single one of us has three main parts of our brain when it comes to making our decisions. We have neocortex, midbrain, and crogbrain. But why am I telling you all of this, and what does this have to do with becoming better at sales? And actually, first, before I dive deeper, I highly recommend you to read a book called Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. So what does some neocortex, midbrain, and crocodile brain have to do with selling? Well, let's start from the beginning. Neuroscience tells us that our brain has developed in three separate stages. First came the crocodile brain, or the oldest part of our brain. Now, most of you probably already know about fight or flight responses, right? Fight or flight mode. Well, guess what part of your brain is responsible for the whole fight or flight? Yes, it's the crocodile brain, the oldest part of your brain. And you also might already know that when somebody is in this so-called fight or flight mode, let's say, for example, a friend of yours is in this so-called fight or flight mode, they just can't reason. Their ability to reason is really low. They just don't make sense, right? And the reason why it works that way is for it to keep us away from any danger or any threat. And that's how we have survived as species. That's how we humans survived. Then we have midbrain, which determines meaning of things and social situations. And then the third part of our brain, the part of our brain that is the youngest, that was the last developed, which is called the neocortex. And it evolved with a problem-solving ability, our ability to solve problems, rational thinking, critical thinking, and all that, you could say, higher level stuff. Now, when you pitch your product, service, or whatever it is, doesn't really matter, you are using your neocortex to come up with all the features, advantages, and so on. However, on the other end of the conversation, or on the other end of your pitch, there is the prospect, right? And the way they see things is through their crocodile brain. Whether you like it or not, all the information that goes to your brain has to first go through your crocodile brain. And if you don't manage to go for the crocodile brain with your pitch, then you will never ever reach neocortex. And now you might be asking, why does it matter? What is wrong about it? What is wrong about me pitching from neocortex but my prospect receiving the message in crocodile brain? Well, the crocodile brain is very simple and lazy part of our brain. If it's, as I said, it's for the fight or flight responses, right? It's black and white, yes or no, nothing deeper than that. If it's something dangerous or boring, then the brain is just going to ignore it. If it's something new and exciting, then it will summarize as quickly as possible and get rid of the details. The croc brain needs exciting, easy to understand, and simple ideas in order for it to move the idea to neocortex, which is the part of your prospect's brain that can actually reason. And one thing you have to remember is that you can't make croc brain feel any threat. Quite the opposite, you have to make it feel safe. And another thing you should also remember is that croc brain is super lazy. That's why you shouldn't make it do too much work, because then it's just going to ignore you and then it'll try to get rid of you. And there are two ways it can get rid of you. First, they'll just hang up on you, especially if you are a salesman or saleswoman and you call all these leads and you use the most common opener, the hi, prospect's name, this is actually a cold call, would you like to hang up now or give me 30 seconds, click. Because the reason why the croc brain picks it up as a danger, because they heard the same opener countless of times before of salesmen that just try to rip them off. And that's why they will either just hang up on you or they will get rid of you more politely, such as call me later, now is not the right time, I'm busy, and so on. However, if you manage to differentiate yourself from all the other salespeople, if you are different and if you are conversational, then they'll be like, wait a minute, what is this? I haven't heard this before. And that's good for you, because the croc brain doesn't know what's going on, and that's amazing. That's really good for you. And just remember, you have to give it the dopamine. You have to make it feel good and not do it too much work, because as I said, croc brain is super, super lazy. And then once the croc brain feels dopamine, it's going to send a message to neocortex. And once the message is neocortex, you can use the fancy words, whatever it is that you have in your arsenal, and then the prospect is going to hear and listen to your message from their neocortex, which is always good because then they can reason, and it's not a typical, black and white fight or flight response, but it's actually are thinking about what you're saying. They are reasoning. They have the neocortex, the part of our brain is behind our logical decisions, thinking about whatever it is that you're selling. And so that's why you can now use more advanced words and tell them what it is that you do and how it can help them achieve the XYZ result. However, I can't stress this enough. You still have to be conversational. You still have to ask a lot of questions. Not only will this help you make them open up to you because they now feel heard and understood, but it will also tell you a bit more about their current situation, which can help you tremendously. Because if you know their situation thoroughly, you can help them even more, right? And last but not least, you should only be pitching prospects that you know you can help. Otherwise, you're only scamming people.